move to the top of the fourth inning, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome a new friend of the show to the show. Sedric Granger, one of the MLB Develops broadcasters, is with us now, and look, he's outdressed me and Michael Bourne. He shows up to the ballpark, sunglasses on, suit and tie, best dressed guy in the building. Here he is. Say hi to America.
Yeah, hello, America. How you doing? Again, Greg, Mike, and then Emily, of course, down there. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I've had an absolute blast so far, and not just with this event, but with all the events we've had going on throughout MLB season, not only with this, but also the Andre Dawson Classic at the beginning of the year. We also had the Breakthrough Series Invitational. So there's just so many touch points, which really makes it great for these players. As you have Caleb Rogers right now on the mound. He was absolutely dealing in that third inning, and he's looking to keep that going right here, but right now finds himself down in the count, 3 balls and no strikes to Madrid Tucker. But that's something that's really huge about this tournament at all, is that you get multiple touch points where it's not just, hey, we're having one invitational where you get to showcase your skills and then there's nothing more than that. There's some continuation that's there, which I think is important.
Cedric, you're so right. You know, you got to start with the Dream Series. You can go to, like you said, the Andre Dawson Classic. You can go to the Hank Aaron. You can go to the Breakthrough. You can go to the program. So this is something that you want to be a part of. And not just that, these kids get to know each other growing up as youngsters. We didn't have that as youngsters because we didn't have these programs. So we wouldn't get to know each other unless you got to college or play pro ball. But they're so familiar with each other and root each other on to try to make some. Don't go off, Madrid. You're okay, Madrid. You're okay. You're gonna be okay. But with that said, they get to know each other growing up and root for each other as they climb the ladder in baseball, whether it's in college, whether it's in pro baseball, but they have somebody that they can look over to. And because things happen in pro baseball, you have a lot of riffraff, you have a lot of failure sometimes, so you need that person to talk to and call on, and they're already close to each other by the time they get to that situation.
Payoff pitch, tapped on the ground over to rookie Shepard, who makes the play in time on a 4-3. But that's a good point, Mike. I mean, listening to some of the guest speakers that came in to talk, one that stood out to me was Ken Griffey Jr., and he told these players that, hey, we want to utilize all the highways that I can provide to be able to give you guys those opportunities. And when it comes to this, whether it's the youth academies, whether it's the Breakthrough Series, getting these opportunities allows these players to really build those bonds and build those connections. And that's something that reflects what both of these players, who the teams are named after, are. So you got, of course, Hank Aaron, you got Jackie Robinson, and even Coach Manuel. We talked about how, hey, he's a consultant for baseball development. He's somebody that was a manager for the Mets. He's done great things in his career, and he stated how that connection between the players is reflective of Jackie Robinson's values. And a lot of these players, they have been able to have that longevity of having a first year, having a second year, having a third year in the program. I think that's huge. And I want to ask you, Mike, with your career and being able to have so many different stops, especially here in Atlanta, how important was it to be able to have that mentorship and have some guys that you can look up to?
Yeah, one of those guys was Jimmy Rollins. You know, I looked up to him as coming up, but I came up through the Phillies organization, and he took me under his wing right away and actually showed me a lot of things on how to play the game and how to go about the game.
Base hit there for Pack as he's got himself extra bases, working his way to second, and there's a 1-out double.
See Mr. Anthony Pack, who's committed to the University of Texas. Tried to get him over to the University of Houston, just didn't work out. I was too late.
You're trying to get everybody to get Houston.
Oh, yeah, I was.
Trying to get as many as possible.
I am. I was too late to the party, though. By the time I heard about the party, it was already over. Cars had left.
That was a good hustle right there from both Pack and Van. Pack realizing he was running hard out of the box. Van trying his best to slide over towards the line, but Anthony Pack, like he said, pulls into second, and the tying runs out there for Team Robinson.
Yep, so 1-0 lead for the Hank Aaron team, and now it'll bring on Will Adams, who reached the last time he was up. First pitch in. Count is 1 ball and no strikes. One thing I want to also give a shout out while I have the opportunity to is the MLB Voices program. So not only are there players that are being developed, but there are plenty of broadcasters that are being developed as well through Major League Baseball. And I got to give credit to Misha Hurd. She's been helping to get everything together, as well as the Black Play-by-Play Fund. But there are some other students just like me as well. Reginald Singleton, Grayson Singleton, Cam Thomas, who have been also taking the opportunities. There's a ground ball over to first base. Easy tag on the bag there for Menity, and that's 2 away. However, runner Anthony Pack moves to third.
Well, you were telling me before, you guys have a busy stretch coming up because you guys are going to be down at RBI World Series. All hands on deck. You guys are going to attack those broadcasts and kind of switch roles.
That's right. That's right. We kind of get to platoon it, just like how a lot of teams maybe have 3 or 4 outfielders that they can work with and they can choose based off the matchups and how they work. We're going to do the same thing with the Breakthrough Series, or with the RBI World Series, rather. So we're going to have about 5 or 6 broadcasters, and we're going to try to do our best to get as much of the coverage as possible, get a lot of these games on, because we got a ton. So I think all of us are at least going to get about 12, 13, 14 games. That's what we want. We're broadcasters. We love that.
You're going to be energized after this one. You're going to be exhausted after that first day. But like you said, the adrenaline takes over, and you'll be ready to rock, my friend.
So here's Chase Thomas right now in a big situation here. 1-0 lead for the Hank Aaron team. However, Jackie Robinson team 42 knocking on the door. Thomas already 1 for 1 on the day and trying to make it 2 for 2 here against Caleb Rogers. 0-2. That's taken upstairs. Count as 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I hate to say this, but Mr. Marvin Freeman might be right. It's a pitcher's duel so far. I want to see the offense get going because I like to see a little action in the field and make it a little interesting. Right now, it's very tough for them to get going. They haven't been swinging the bats like they want to, but things can change in a blink of an eye in baseball.
Yeah, we've seen this too with the championship game of the Breakthrough Series. That was also a pitcher's duel. Marvin Freeman was coming out talking to players, and he was telling his pitchers, you don't just need to pitch, you need to pitch. I remember him talking about that, and they surely did, as a lot of these players that are competing in this tournament, they were able to come through and beat the Texas Rangers Youth Academy. 2-2, takes a hop.
That was a very good block.
I was going to say, it's a couple of times we've seen Miles Mays get down and keep it in front and keeping that tying run over at third base. And how about Chase Thomas right here, coming back from 0-2 down to see himself a 3-2.
Sets off a payoff pitch. 3-2 from Rogers. And that's fouled back.
Fight up there, Mr. Chase Thomas. This kid was actually a football player and came late onto the scene, and now is making his name in baseball. So it's a lot of colleges out there that might start to know about him as time progresses. He's committed to the Blinn Junior College right now as we speak. But if you're committed to Blinn, that's one of the best junior college programs in the country. But I think you will see a lot of people knocking down on this door as time goes on. Like that fight, Vine. Put the bat on the ball any kind of way with a 3-2 count with 2 outs. You're just trying to put the ball in play. Put it in play, things can happen.
That's right. These players are going to war as well. We've seen plenty of competitive at-bats. Even though we haven't seen the offense going, we have seen plenty of competitive appearances, which makes you think something could break through at any opportunity here. So here comes the 8th pitch of the at-bat. 3-2. And there's a well-earned walk.
Good eye.
It's the best at-bat we've seen in this game. Chase Thomas in the cleanup spot, a double in the first, a 2-out walk here in the 4th. And now Team Robinson's got something cooking with the go-ahead run over at first.
Yep, so this brings in Brendan Lewis. Huge opportunity here for the second baseman. The thing that's also stood out about this week, I talked about Ken Griffey Jr. being one of the guest speakers. Another guest speaker that they had this week was Bob Kendrick, coming in to bring the stories to life, especially concerning Hank Aaron. When hearing what Kendrick had to say, his favorite all-time player, for a man who knows all about the history of the Negro Leagues, all about the history of all the MLB, his favorite all-time player and personal idol is Hank Aaron.
Yes, Bob knows the history like no other than Negro Leagues. Who's the president of the foundation in Kansas City, and he just knows his knowledge. He actually came down to Rickwood and was there for the Willie Mays tribute, and it was amazing the way he talked. You know, one take, he came out, just presented it. We were all like, oh my goodness, this guy is amazing. He knows his history for real.
1-1, flung fly ball in the air. Rookie Shepard pushing back into shallow right center, makes the catch and retires the side with a runner left in scoring position.
Sedric Granger, job well done. We'll be seeing you down the road, my friend.
Yep, thank you so much for the opportunity. Once again, Hank Aaron team up 1-0 here in Truist Park.